What's your favorite food?
Favorite food used to be lobster, but I can't have it anymore. Or scallops were first, and then lobster. Um, when I had lobster later on, because I didn't have lobster for many years.
Yeah.
But I don't know, now
It's probably not salad.
filet mignon,
Okay, yeah. And how do you like it cooked?
rare,
Yeah. And I think I know the answer to this one, but what's your favorite color?
blue.
Yeah. You have a lot of blue clothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always liked blue, and so does Fred, so that
Yeah.
helps.
Blue's a nice color.
Mm.
Do you have a favorite song or piece of music?
Mm-hmm. Favorite. There's so many songs in my head over the years,
Yeah.
old songs, new songs.
Yeah.
Favorite artist is Josh Groban.
Okay.
Um, favorite song. I can't think of one particular
Okay.
because there's so many in
Right.
my head.
Right. When you were in Sweet Adelines, you sang a
Mm-hmm.
lot of songs. A lot of them were show tune kind of songs, right?
Not necessarily show tunes. They we made a show with them,
Okay.
whatever they were.
Okay.
You know, put in the choreography and then you've got show tunes, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Was there, I know you went to like competitions
Right.
and sometimes you won them, right? Your chorus won them.
The first year with Bob Mange, we won small chorus
Okay.
competition at competition because there were choruses that were hundreds and we were only, what, 12?
Yeah. You're a small group.
15, something like that, a
Yeah.
small group.
What I'd like to do is start by talking about your ancestors. As
Okay.
yeah, as
I forgot to get the book out,
oh, that's okay. We can
but
get
I
it.
know exactly where it is.
We can we can get it out later and take notes. So I know that the Boulay family came from Canada.
Yes, my grandfather came, came from Canada. What had happened, his mother had died suddenly because this is an interesting story. Um, his horse and his wife were both sick at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the drugstore and he got medication. The druggist put him up in bottles that looked exactly alike. And she had gone in for a nap before he got back home with the meds. And um, when she woke up, he wasn't home, so she just looked on the table, saw the bottles, picked one up, and she took it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it was the horse one, which
Right.
was much too strong for her,
Right.
and she died.
Yeah.
And Pepe,
Mm-hmm.
um, just, well, Grandpape, um, cried for 2 years. He just, every time you'd look at him, he was crying.
Yeah.
That's what I was told. So,
Yeah.
um, he was so devastated that he lost her and
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
But he tried to live here in the U.S. He came down, well, first of all, after she had died and he found himself with all these kids, he didn't know what to do. So he talked with his sister, or sister-in-law, some relative in Fall River, and said, I need somebody to take care of the kids. So um, he sent them all except my grandfather was not the oldest. There was one other. But he was older, and I guess he was working or something. I don't know. But my grandfather was only 15 years old.
Okay.
And he was put on a train with the rest of the kids.
And
Something
sent
like
off.
10 kids or something like that. And was made responsible,
Yeah.
take care of them, and you're going to go to your aunts or whatever in Fall River. So that's what happened. And when he got to Fall River, apparently found work right away, and then uh, eventually found work at the bakery, and that's where he worked the rest of his life. The Gold Medal Bakery, it was called at the time.
Okay.
Later on, it was called Donald Duck Bakery because they had Donald Duck motto, and some guy walked around in a duck suit and all that, and quack, quack.
So that was your grandfather.
My
That.
father's father,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a short guy, uh, little, not stocky, but well built.
And what was his name?
Oscar,
Okay.
Oscar. But when I looked up his name with the genealogy thing, I got in contact with a lady in Canada and actually talked to her, who was a Boulay, but only through marriage. And she said, well, I'll go to the church where he was baptized and I'll find all the baptismal certificates, birth dates, all that. So she did that and then sent me a paper handwritten, and it had all that information on it.
Okay.
And I couldn't find my grandfather's name
Oh.
because he had changed it to Oscar because that was his older brother's name. Why he changed it, I don't know.
Huh. Maybe his older brother had died or something.
I don't, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I forget now what his real name was. But I did find that. Eliminating, people
Right.
going through that list, I found out who he was. It was Joseph. But anyway,
Huh.
he had changed his name and came here with this new name.
Yeah.
And they pretty much all stayed around the Fall River area.
When they grew up and.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had met one of his younger sisters, I think she was, anyway. that lived in Central Falls, Rhode Island, which is, maybe a half hour away.
Right.
But most of them lived Fall River, Swansea, and Somerset.
Yeah.
And still, now there's only one of my father's brothers left, Vernon, and he's living in Somerset, Mass.
Okay.
And he married a lady that is my age, and he was in high school when I started grammar school.
Okay. So he must have been the youngest brother, maybe.
Mm-hmm. He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Interesting. What is one of your favorite memories with your Pepe?
Going to the bakery after church, and I would walk there, and Pepe would see me, and he'd say, "Do you want some dough?" in French. And I always said yes, and he would give me a handful of dough. And yeah, after he powdered my hands with flour, and um, I'd eat that dough and go home to his house, which was, closer than going to my house.
Right.
And we went there every Sunday anyway,
Right.
have dinner all together. And all the kids were still living there because my father was the only one that was married at the time.
Okay.
But I'd eat the dough all the way home and get home, and my aunt would say, "Oh, she stopped to see Pepe. Look at her hands and her dress. You got flour all over you. Come on, you're going to take a bath."
Yeah.
So they fill the tub, and I have to get in the tub upstairs.
Yeah. So as your dad was growing up, he was the son of a baker,
Mm-hmm.
and he lived in Fall River his whole growing up time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your mom's story as she was growing up?
My mom lost her mother to some, I don't know if it was pneumonia or what it was, but it was
It could have been the
a
Spanish
disease.
flu, maybe. Because the Spanish
And,
flu was really bad in the late, like 1918, 1919. I don't know. I don't know how old she was when she lost.
well, she was maybe 10 years old, so this would have been more like 29,
Okay.
28, 29. I don't think she was even 10, but anyway, there were 5 kids. When the mother died, the father said, "Well, um, I'll take him to Blanche's," which was his either sister or sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, I think. Or her husband was an in-law. Anyway, the last name was Levesque. And she took care of the 5 kids, but had 5 kids of her own. And she just, after a while, was exhausted, couldn't do it anymore. And my grandfather, her dad, mom's dad, didn't come back. He was gone. Had abandoned them, so to speak, I guess. So Aunt Blanche put the kids in the orphanage, and the youngest one was a little blonde, blue-eyed boy, Norman. And because he was so cute, everybody wanted to adopt him.
Yeah.
So um, they found him a home right away. But the people that adopted him decided that they're not going to change his name. They're going to wait and see how he feels about it when he's an adult. So they didn't give them their name until, he was an adult. He was getting ready to go into the service. And they decided he decided at that time to take their name.
Okay.
So then he became Norman Jean.
Okay.
Um, he went in the service, I don't know. I met him when I was probably 10 or 12 years old.
Right.
He, he had been living in California, and he came with his little daughter, Norma.
Okay.
Norma Jean. When I first heard that, I thought, that's Marilyn Monroe. But it turns out that it's a different Norma Jean,
Right.
because she was from somewhere else. When they came, it happened to be a thing going on at the store where my Aunt Georgette worked. I think it was Stop and Shop. They had Clarabelle coming. Do you know Clarabelle? No.
No.
He was a clown on Howdy Doody Show, a
Okay.
radio show. And he used to squirt everybody with seltzer.
Okay.
The seltzer water thing. And he came and entertained the kids. And my brother Dennis and Norma was standing there, and all of a sudden, they got
Yeah.
squirt. And both crying. Because they were just, 3 or 4 years old at the most.
Yeah.
And but that's just a little thing I remember about that. But I really liked Norma Jean, and I thought that I could find her. I looked, but never did find her.
I think it's hard to find women sometimes because we get married and we change our last names and
Sometimes more than once, I
Yeah.
know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go back to your mom, she she finished growing up in the
she
orphanage.
grew up in the orphanage, and then Aunt Lee, her older sister, had already left the orphanage to work, and was living in a hotel for women kind of place.
Okay.
And when it was time that Mom could leave, she went, and we asked her to live there. So she went and she lived there too. I have pictures of that. The
Okay.
whole group sitting on the steps.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and, the two of them lived there and then began dating and stuff when they were older enough. And
What kind of work did your mom do?
as far as I know, she was a secretary or something like that at I know where my father met her. But she became a seamstress after that. She was working in a sweatshop, you know, those
Yeah.
sewing places. And went from one type of sewing place to another, you know, through the years. I know she was in the one that was making the winter clothes for up north, you know, the
Yeah.
thick stuff.
Yeah. I remember for Christmas one year, she made us kids vests that were made like from the fuzzy lining of a winter coat.
Yeah,
Yeah. But she also knew how to type and take shorthand, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
which shocked me. I didn't know that until I was probably a young adult.
But she
And
was such a good seamstress that she made better money working in a
maybe,
mill, maybe?
maybe.
Okay.
I really don't know why she did it, but I know she did. And I never heard much about secretarial stuff, you know.
Right.
She never had said anything.
Yeah.
She said, "What do you think I am? Stupid?"
I
Yeah.
can picture her saying that. So you were growing up in Fall River.
Yeah. And then when I was about, what would I be in? 8th grade. 8 and 6. 14.
In 8th grade, you'd probably be a little younger than that. Maybe 12 or 13, I think. But I'm not sure. Usually fifth graders,
14.
usually fifth graders are about 10.
Well, you know, I couldn't start school until I was already 6 because my birthday's in June,
Okay.
you know. So I
Yeah.
was one of the oldest kids.
Okay.
But anyway, I think I was 14. My parents bought the house in Swansea, and it was a big thing. They went to the credit union, and when they got the money for the house, they stopped by the house just to show us the money. And, you know, we moved to Swansea, and the move was funny because Uncle Vic and Aunt Lee helped Mom and Dad with the move. And we were, uh, Aunt Lee and Uncle Vic's kids were with me and my brothers and sisters. And we were waiting for them to come back. And all of a sudden, there were big eyes at the windows. And we thought they were Martians or something. So we were scared. And it was that time of year where the fog kind of hangs on the ground. And we thought that that was a spaceship out there. And, you know, scaring ourselves silly.
Yeah.
But we all got in the kitchen because the kitchen was the only room that didn't have windows we could see.
Yeah.
It was up too high so that we weren't too worried about that. We were relieved when Mom and Dad got back. And then we told them, and all they could do was laugh at us. When I got a bike, when we moved to Swansea, they bought me a bike when I was 16.
Okay.
They tell me, Pauline, go downstairs. Your birthday gift is down there.
Down in the basement?
And I'm thinking, oh, shoot, can't be a car.
Nope. If I remember, that basement was a dirt basement, wasn't it?
Part of it, yeah,
Yeah.
and cement on the rest. But um, they had parked an English 10-speed type bike
Okay.
down there that they had bought secondhand, but it was in good shape. Um, so I went down the stairs and saw the bike, then came upstairs and pretended to be happy because I was disappointed.
You couldn't get a bike down there in the basement, could you?
A car. Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, Meme or your mom was so short that I remember seeing wooden blocks on the brake pedal of the car that she drove.
Yeah.
Was there anything particular, anything notable that you did in high school prior to when you went into the convent?
Yeah. I was in HMS Pinafore. I was chosen to play Buttercup,
Okay.
and I loved it once I got used to it. But when the first performance thing was when the music teacher took us out to a ladies' guild or something to each sing what we were going to sing, our solos. Uh, she played the intro, and I hesitated.
Nothing came
Nothing
out.
came out. But the words were in my head, but not in my voice. So she just smiled at me, and she was trying to be encouraging, and she started playing the intro all over again. And this time, my voice came out, and I was able to sing. But once I got going, I was fine. And I sang, I'm called Little Buttercup. I sang that. And then the next person sang and so on.
Right.
So we each did one. I was in that, and I was supposed to be Petty Sing in Pirates. No. It's a Japanese type.
Was it The King and I?
No.
No.
Three little girls from school and I, something like that. There were three sisters, I guess, and I was one of them.
And what happened so that it made it so that you didn't do that?
When I went in the convent,
Oh, okay.
and
What was a typical day like when you were in the convent?
you wake up, say prayers before you even get dressed. Then you go and get washed up and get dressed. And after that, you go downstairs to the chapel. You have Mass. And after Mass, you go over to the refectory for breakfast. That's what it's called, the
Okay.
kitchen.
Okay. The chow
Yeah,
hall.
chow hall, yeah.
Yeah. About what time of day is that? Like, it sounds like it could be at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, but it was early still, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it was usually like 5 o'clock, I think, that we were getting up. And I think Mass started at 6. So we had an hour to get dressed, to make our bed, do any cleaning around. And we lived in little cubbyhole things. My bed was probably not any wider than that table.
Okay. A
It
narrow
was,
twin.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it had curtains across the back. I had a little nightstand thing that I kept my other habit in.
Mm-hmm.
And, prayer beads, prayer book.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for possessions. You just don't have any.
Yeah.
So then the curtain goes across the back there, and then across, you know,
Okay.
a
So
little
you're in a
square of curtains.
so you're in a big room, and each bed has a little curtain around it.
Right. And to leave the room, you have to swing the curtain open.
Right. Yeah. About how many women shared a room in that way?
Well, there were, I think, 4 adult ones that were in their second year. And they were in that dorm. And then there were 4 of us that were just starting out
Right.
that were in that room. So segregated.
Okay. And
But there were a lot more beds that were available if anybody else wanted to join, kind of thing.
right. Okay. So once you've had breakfast, what would you fill your days with?
School,
Okay.
you'd go to the classroom from breakfast after you clean out dishes and stuff. You walk over to this. Oh, wait, no. First, we had chores. I had stairways to do. So I do from third floor down with a mop and a cloth
Mm-hmm.
to do the edges. And somebody else had some other room, the bathroom, and we
Okay.
switched jobs.
Okay.
So it changed. I don't remember if it was monthly or weekly or what,
Mm-hmm.
but we changed.
So you were in the convent for almost a year, a big part of a year.
About 9 months.
Yeah. And then you got reborn back out into the regular world.
Oh boy, that was scary. Because I hadn't worn a dress or slacks or anything like that, in all this time. So, my friends Dorothy and Cindy come to pick me up and take me out because I've been locked up all this time. So they come over and we go to a soda shop type place.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting there and I was on the end of a bench and some guy needed sugar or salt and pepper or something on the table we were at. And he just, all of a sudden there was an arm. He came across. I jumped. I was, and he says, I don't want the sugar or whatever. I said, it's all right. So anyway, he left. Everything was fine. But, that's the kind of thing that it kind of made me jumpy at first.
Mm-hmm.
Different things that were happening in the world that I had not experienced in a long time.
Yeah.
But I got over it fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, um,
Oh, and later that same summer, after I was sent home because I'd make a good mother and wife, according to Mother Mistress. So um, I had been dating Danny Hill, who was like a couple of years ahead of me in school when I was in school. Um, and Danny's best friend was Pete Pierce.
oh, I know that name.
Yeah, so that's how I met your father.
Okay. And did you have a long courtship?
No, I think it was probably in July or something like that we met. And we were married at the end of October. He gave me a call. I was at work. I was working in a jewelry factory. And he gave me a call and said, "Hey, you want to get married?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "I'm outside and I just got my check so we can leave for
Wow.
New York." We had to go to New York because Massachusetts was 21.
Okay.
New York was 18. So anyway, we eloped,
Yeah.
and that's how that happened.
Yeah. And sometimes everybody rejoices when you elope, and sometimes they don't. How did it go at your house?
Not very good. Mom and Dad were very, maybe hurt, but they were angry too. Um, and when I asked Mom if I could go upstairs and get my clothes, she says, "No, your sisters can use those clothes. You have to go out and buy your own." So,
Yeah. So you kind of started out married life
with nothing.
with, yeah, not a whole lot.
No, just the clothes on my back.
The clothes you had worn to work that day.
Yeah, and got married in
Okay. Yeah.
a black watch plaid suit,
Which is green and black, right?
or navy blue.
Yeah.
I think there's a skinny red line in it too, and yellow maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all I had, so we had to go out and buy me clothes, which my mother-in-law went and went and bought things with me.
Okay. So she was fine.
Supportive,
Yeah.
yes.
Cool. So what was your first apartment like?
It was next to RISD, Rhode Island School of Design. So all these artsy people were around, and it was an interesting neighborhood. We were up on the third floor, and the kitchen window had a box, a wooden box. It was outside of it, about the size of a milk carton. And it was the refrigerator in the wintertime.
Okay.
You could put your milk in it or butter or whatever, you know. And that way you didn't have to fill your fridge with all that.
Yeah.
Um, but
Was it just like a little one-bedroom type apartment or a
just
studio?
one
Or?
bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, and then the living room was in there. And the lady next door, I used to know her name, but I can't think of it now. But she had been a teacher, but she was now a pack rat.
Oh.
You had to weave through her place, through piles of books and newspapers. Um, she took me in to show me her place. Terrible. And walked all the way to the bathroom where she had all kinds of clothes soaking in the tub.
That's how
And
she
I
did her
found
laundry?
out that instead of doing laundry, she would buy clothes at the store and order them. They would be delivered. Then when they got dirty and she couldn't wear them anymore, she'd throw them in the tub. So God only knows how long some of those had been in there.
Was I born when you lived in that apartment, or had you moved?
No, when we discovered that I was pregnant, then he said we better find a place that's got another room and, better location. So we moved to Bristol, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And we were in a beautiful, big apartment.
Okay.
For, the living room was probably the size of these two rooms together, with bay windows on one end.
Was it in an apartment in an older house type of thing?
Yeah, it was one of those, what do you call, stucco houses. And
Okay.
it had walls, really thick walls,
Okay.
so that it was pretty soundproof when you're inside.
Yeah.
Um, but it was nice. We had a nice room. And then your bedroom was on the front of the house. It was long, but your crib and your dresser would fit there fine.
Yeah.
And then the closet eventually got filled up with little dresses. But it was a nice place.
Okay. And I assume you were a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of work did he do?
He didn't work. He was going to college.
Oh, okay.
So one day he said, you know, it's time we've got to move because I need to go to work. So he got a job at Pratt Whitney,
Okay.
and we moved to Middletown, Connecticut.
Okay.
Second floor apartment. And you had your room, I had mine, living room, dining room, kitchen.
Okay.
It was like cut up with the stairway coming up between the dining room and the living room. There was a stairway from downstairs.
Okay.
And we were there until you went to kindergarten. Oh, wait a minute, no.
In Cromwell is where I went.
Cromwell is
Yeah.
where you went to kindergarten.
Yeah.
I can't remember when. I guess maybe we moved because we were expecting another baby. Penny,
Okay.
maybe. But then we had a big well, it was divided like this almost. And the kids were in there. It was about the same size with twin beds, and we were here.
Okay. And then you and Dad ended up divorced, and he went off and did whatever he was doing. And then several years later, you met Stan, our stepdad, who over the years we came to love and to
Right.
call Dad ourselves.
Right.
How did you guys meet?
We met at a dance. And I was watching him dance with somebody else. He was such a great dancer. And I was watching. And I'm saying to myself, oh, I hope he asks me to dance. Because he's great. And he did. A dance or two later, he came over to me and asked me. So we danced, and from then on, neither one of us danced with anybody else. We just matched up so well.
Yeah.
So we danced, and
And
we were dancing for quite a while.
you danced right up until the last couple years.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a time, though, when we were first married that we didn't dance for a long time.
Okay. Just, you were trying
Busy
to,
raising kids,
yeah.
and we had problems with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But you had 47 years together.
yeah,
And I know, I don't think I have video, but I have pictures of his 90th birthday party and the
right.
two of you dancing then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we lost Dad.
Yes.
And then several months later, you met someone new.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, a girlfriend of mine that I had met, well, how it happened, I met her. I was eating at Darwin's, and this lady came in all by herself, and there were no tables available. So I just signaled to her, come on over, sit with me. So she came over. So I then told her verbally, come sit with me. It's okay, I'm alone. And I just ordered, so she sat and she introduced herself, and I did, and we talked a little bit. During the conversation, I said that I was looking for a dance partner because I love to dance. So little did I know, I had given her my phone number, and she called me one day and said, hey, you were looking for a dance partner. I think I know somebody. I have invited him to come and meet us at Darwin's. So that's what happened. We met. And I told him I was now taking dance lessons, and it was the shag. And Fred came to the shag dance lessons
Yeah.
twice. And the second time he said, this isn't really what I wanted. I really would prefer ballroom. And I said, great, because that's what I love.
Yeah.
So he then made a bunch of phone calls and set up ballroom dance lessons, which
Right.
we're still taking.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But meantime, we fell in love and got married.
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any advice you want to give to your descendants and great descendants and
Mm-hmm. Love with your whole heart.
Wonderful. Thank you.